Hi guys, welcome to Watch Hobbyist channel. So today I've got for you the Rolex Daytona that was released at Baselworld 2016. This is the latest model as of May 2016 when I'm filming this, and it's something I've been excited about for a long time. Now this is the ceramic model. As I say, it replaces the old steel model, and there's very little difference between them apart from the bezel, but still overall this is the model I've anticipated the most, I've wanted the most, and the bezel makes a difference for various reasons. Now in terms of details, the bezel itself is black. Now there's two models of this watch. There's a white dial and then there's a black dial, which you see here. I actually had no choice when it came to actually purchasing the watch. I only had the option of a black dial at this point. It was one of the first batches. Hi guys, welcome to Watch Hobbyist channel. So today I've got for you the brand new Rolex by perseverance and getting in sort of like within about, I think it was about 2 minutes of the actual release back in March. I actually got my name down for things. So why is it so in demand? Well, it's a Rolex Daytona and it's as simple as that. It's a coveted model amongst Rolex collectors and watch collectors in general. We all know that this is, you know, a pretty normal watch. It's a chronograph watch, no date complication, nothing like that. Very straightforward, simple timepiece. But it's something that Rolex marketing machine has done an amazing job on over the years. I mean, at the end of the day, they could produce more than they do, but this watch is actually, you know, in demand, and they limit the production, and therefore there are waiting lists and things like that. And when you hear about, oh, it's a 5-year waiting list, things like that, it's not necessarily true. It depends which dealer you're with. If they get 2 watches a year and they've got 10 people on the list, then that's how these waiting lists sound so long. But if you find another dealer that's hopefully got less people on, then hopefully you can get one sooner. And then of course there's the other thing that if you are, say, 10th in the list and 5 of those people get one sooner, then you end up with there's only 5 people in the list. So that's kind of how it works. So all the speculators will buy these, and then, you know, the prices will go up second hand. But would I sell mine? Well, I'd have to sell it for a heck of a lot more money to make it worthwhile, really, because I've wanted one for so long. But getting away from all that, what is this watch all about? So we've got the ceramic bezel, which is obviously the main difference, and it's actually one of the pretty much the only difference between the previous model. Now, I wish I had the previous model here. That has a steel bezel around here, so it's all the same markings and everything, but just this is ceramic and the other ones are steel. There were also some that have like a Bakelite type bezel from the past, and that's what I like about this black bezel that they've put on. So ceramic can be different colours. You know, we've seen various different watches that have blue bezels and red bezels and different colours, so it doesn't have to be black ceramic. But I think it's nice that they have gone with the black on this watch, because it harks back to sort of like the 62, 63s and the really old vintage pieces, and it gives it sort of a really nice contrast around the edge of the dial. Now some people will probably prefer the older model, and therefore as always, when the new model is released with Rolex, the older model prices tend to sort of increase a little bit, which seems to be happening, and that's fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, the old model is actually a very nice watch. The only thing with me personally wanting this one was the ceramic bezel, just in my opinion makes it a bit more wearable without worrying about it. But that's only because I have terrible OCD when it comes to watches, and if I was to ding a bezel or put marks on a watch, it really annoys me, and I usually end up selling it. So this one is at least more durable. Of course, ceramic can crack and things like that, but actually that's I'm not worried about, because I've had a few watches with ceramic parts now and I've never managed to damage any of them. You know, ceramic is a very tough, hard material, but it's just a little bit brittle if you were to sort of give a real big shock to it. But the other good thing about this particular design is you have the crystal which protrudes from the bezel. So the crystal is of course sapphire and very tough itself. It can chip, but I tend to prefer a crystal that does sort of protrude from the bezel, so it protects the watch anyway. So, you know, nothing wrong with the overall design in my opinion. I really like the contrast of the black dial. As I say, I didn't have a choice, I had to get a black one. There is a white option available, and it's also very nice, but had I had the choice, I don't know, I would have really liked to see them both together, because I've only seen pictures of the white one, and up until buying this I'd only seen the black one in pictures as well. So actually now, you know, when I came to actually pick the watch up, I was actually really pleased to, you know, find that I really did like the black dial, because it's kind of like it's kind of glossy, but it's not not over glossy. It's not like it's a mirror like on certain other watches where you can see yourself in it, and you know that gets really awkward when you're telling the time. This has a slight amount of gloss, but just enough matte appearance to it to sort of help with any reflections and those sorts of things. The Rolex crown is applied as it was on the previous model, so it's like probably a white gold coronet, which is then sort of stuck on top of the dial. The sub-dials on this model are silver. On the white model they're black, and on this particular model the sub-dials have like a ribbed effect, so like lines going around them. I'll try and put an overlay of that. And you have basically 30-minute is on the right hand side, 60 seconds is running, that's the running seconds all the time. On the left hand side we have a 12-hour counter, and then you can see what's going around right now. If you just look at that, that's the central chronograph seconds hand, so every time that rotates past 12, that's another minute on this counter. And then when that counter gets to 30 minutes, this is going round all the time as well, and basically that gets to sort of halfway between the markers, and then it carries on to the next one. So it's standard chronograph in its appearance, but the chronograph that sort of led a lot of other watches to copy the similar design, the Daytona. You know, it's one of the real trendsetters of the past 50 or so years of watch collecting. The Chronograph Pushers on the Daytona are still screw down. Now I'm sure in 2016 that, you know, we don't really need screw down chronograph pushers to help with water resistance. You know, they don't particularly screw down sort of very tight anyway. You'd have to really give it some welly to get them to the point where you have to really untighten them. So I think it's, in my opinion, it's more for aesthetics, more for appearance, but I still like the fact that it gives you confidence, should you go swimming with it, that you're not going to knock the chrono pushers and let some water into the actual case and to the movement. But I also like it because it's another thing that harks back to the older models. You know, when you have a watch or a car or anything that's run for 50 or 60 years, the product line, it has to have some resemblance to those original models. So for example, if you look at Porsche 911s, you know, alright, so they're a lot bigger and they're a lot different and more modern, but they still have that same sloping back and things like that, and it just keeps the you know, the aesthetic keeps going all through the time then. And it's the same with the Daytona. I mean, if you look at this, you know it's a Daytona, but if you look at a Daytona from 1972, you'd also know it's a Daytona without reading the word Daytona. Speaking of that, it does have the word Daytona in red, which I think is really nice. Stands out a bit more on the white dial, obviously, but I think it's just nice, just a nice colour. And that seems to be not applied, the wording, but it's like painted in quite a thick paint, so it tends to catch the light as well, I've noticed. So on a couple of my photos I actually thought there was some really bad marks inside on the dial, but it wasn't. It was just the way the light was actually sort of reflecting off the edges of the lettering. Also on this model, the lume is blue, just like the last model. So you had, the previous model was the 116520, and that would have blue lume in the later part of its life, but up until about 2012 that had green lume instead. This one carries on with the blue lume theme, which I think really suits the watch with its black details. The case itself is around about 39-40mm, and it wears really nicely. The Daytona has always worn from day one really well. It's not a big watch and it's not a small watch, it's just the perfect sort of size. I did actually get rid of my 6239 recently. As much as I loved it, I was very worried about damaging it in any way. First of all, it's a very valuable watch. Secondly, it was a lot more delicate than something you would find in a shop today from any brand at all. You know, the older stuff is more fragile, there's no doubt about it. So what I like about this is I still have some of the older Daytona look to it, but I also have that mixed with modern appeal where it's very wearable, feels very well made, and feels like it would withstand anything and still come out the other end absolutely fine as it is. The clasp on this is the same as the previous model, so this clasp basically is a easy link clasp. So you flick this up, that's the first sort of security part of the clasp. Then you open up this section here. Now you'll notice actually, just like on the Sea Dweller video I've shown in the past, they have like a sprung area here. So when you come to actually close it, you can see it just sort of goes like that. It just closes properly, making it super secure. These are some of the best clasps you will find on any watch, if not the best in my opinion, or Rolex clasps. And then Down here we have an easy link section. So right now it's in its closed status, so you would wear it, say your wrist is quite, you know, relaxed, and then you start doing some sports, or it's a hot day, if you need to expand it a little bit, you just basically click it up, and now we've got an extra ½ centimetre or so of room. So just makes for a bit more comfort when you come to wear it, if you actually need to expand the bracelet at all. It's not going to work for things like dive suits, but then you probably wouldn't wear this for diving anyway. Although I have read about people that have taken Daytonas and Yachtmasters diving with no issues whatsoever, down to even as much as sort of 40 odd meters with no problems. So I'm not condoning it, but you know, these Rolexes, they are durable, they are good watches, and it's part of the reason why they hold the value so well as the marketing machine. There is actually some substance to the watches. In my experience, you know, they're one of the few brands that I've had that I've never had issue with, and same goes for their sub-brand Tudor. Very, very good quality and really, really nice. The only delicate part, I'd say, of the watch is the polished centre section to the bracelet. So you have an outer section which is satin finished, and then you have down the middle you have like a polished section, and obviously that can collect fingerprints, but it can also collect scratches, and over time it will do. But I think for me it's more about what's in your face when it comes to talking about scratches. You know, on the older model with the steel bezel, it always used to bother me when I had them. If I was going to knock it or scratch it or anything, it'd be there staring at you, the damage that you created. Whereas on this, it's just going to be the bracelet, and of course at service, you know, they'll be able to polish things and what have you. Speaking of service, I've heard recently that with this new 5-year thing that Rolex have brought in, it's basically now you get a watch, any watch you buy from Rolex, it comes with a green tag. So it comes with, used to come with a red tag for many, many, many years, even back into like sort of the 70s, I think they used to come with red tags. And now it comes with a green one. The green one basically refers to it being part of the new range of stringent sort of tests and tasks that the watches go under. So the first difference is, instead of a 2-year warranty of old, you now get a 5-year warranty. This came in as of July last year. So if you bought a watch from July last year onwards and you have a green tag with it, then you should have a 5-year warranty. If you bought a watch within, I think it was any time from something like July 2014 or something like that, you'd have to look into it, then they actually gave you 3 years warranty, so you got an extra year's warranty should you require it, type of thing. So you weren't totally left out. But I managed to buy a watch that was 1 month before this July thing, so I got an extra year of warranty. But had I bought the watch a month later, I would have actually had a 5-year warranty, which is a shame. This watch does come with a 5-year warranty, but what they say is that the new things that I've read, according to some people on forums, and according to a blog that I've read, and according to actually the dealer I picked this watch up from yesterday, it's now a 10-year service cycle. So I don't know how accurate that is. I've not spoken to Rolex and asked them. However, I would say that that is to be taken with a pinch of salt, depending on the tasks that you use the watch for. If you're going swimming every single day at the gym and there's chlorine involved, or say you go to the sea every single day and there's salts involved and things like that, you know, or any chemical environment, you know, obviously that's got to matter compared to your regular Joe that just uses his watch for the office each day. So I would take that with a pinch of salt, because it's not necessarily about the mechanical side of it. Maybe that is fine for 10 years. The oils, maybe they've changed those or what have you. But the seals on the watch are very important. And if your seals, you know, degrade, just like in a car, after a few years you start to notice it steams up more on a cold day and that type of thing. It's because the seals may be degrading, or they may have, you know, developed holes or what have you. And the same thing with a watch. I mean, they do have very durable materials now for things like this. However, you know, they're not totally permeable to every type of lifestyle that they're going to be treated with. So just take that into account. The other thing as well with this watch and any Rolex from July 2015 is that they should now have the -2 +2 seconds thing going on. So basically, you used to have a COSC certification, so chronometer certification, which will give you -4 plus seconds to be allowable within restraints of Rolex. So if, say, you found the Rolex to be running at 8 seconds per day fast, you could take it to Rolex and they would actually regulate it and make it run better. However, now they've gone to even tighter restrictions where it's -2 and +2 seconds. So therefore you've got a very accurate watch no matter pretty much, I think, whichever Rolex you buy. They've always been accurate, but now they're apparently even more accurate still. So although saying that, I've had Rolexes in the past that haven't deviated even half a second per day. They've been absolutely bang on. So they do seem to get things right. Part of the reason with this one is the actual movement. So you've got in here the 4130 movement, it's called. So it's a movement that's been around, I think, since about the year 2000. It replaced the Zenith movement of old in the previous Zenith Daytona, which looks very similar but actually is a different movement underneath. So this actually is a 72-hour power reserve movement, which means you've got 3 days of power once it's fully wound. You've got a column wheel chronograph, so when you do unscrew the chrono pusher and you go to hit the chrono button, or if you push it down, you get like a first stop about 1 millimeter down, which feels very like solid and like it wouldn't break, and then you push it further and you just get a really nice click. So you know, it's just a solid, really good movement, and obviously that activates the chronograph when you start and stop it there, and you reset it with this crown here, and then you just screw that back in. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that even if you didn't screw those back in, the watch is still waterproof, but I don't think I'd like to risk it with such an expensive and such a lovely thing to have. And that's basically an overlook of the new Rolex Daytona. I'm calling it the Rolex Daytona 500. The reason for that is 500 is in the model number, so it's a 116500LN. LN standing for Lunette Noir, which means black bezel, and I'm calling it the Daytona 500 because therefore it's easier to determine which ceramic model you mean. If you just say Rolex Daytona ceramic, it's not as easy as just knowing it's a Daytona 500 because it has that in the model number. There is one thing that I did want to touch on, which I'm going to try and not waffle on too much longer because this review's already gone for nearly 20 minutes and I'm sorry it's taken so long, but you'll notice that I've got the stickers on here. Okay, now the only reason I've left them on is basically for the review, and because I'm going to be a bit busy over the next few days, I'm not going to bother sort of doing anything with it for a few days probably. However, the stickers are a real point of contention because I've actually heard about, firstly I heard the other day that somebody couldn't buy a Rolex Daytona without the dealer taking the stickers off, and now I've actually read a new post on a forum where somebody was told that if they buy a Daytona from a specific dealer, that the dealer wants to keep the warranty card for 6 months. Now this is basically, all the dealers are scared, obviously. They have a great business going if they sell Rolex watches, of course. You know, you're a business, you want to sell things, you want to make money, and that is totally fair enough. But if Rolex find out apparently that, you know, you're selling watches and they're entering the grey market, it can be very bad for your concession status. And I've known a few dealers that have been massive dealers and they've actually lost the Rolex concession. I don't know why, but it's been removed from them, and therefore so have the watches and things like that. So, you know, they can't then sell them. So I think this is part of why it goes on, you know. But I've got my watch here with the stickers, and that's because the dealer was really easygoing, really, really nice. And they said to me, you know, do I want the stickers? I said, yes, please. Do you want the tags? I said, yes, please. And it wasn't an issue at all. Now, the stickers obviously aren't a big thing, don't get me wrong. I'm not going on about stickers like I have done with boxes and things like that in the past with watches where people have pulled me up on it. But at the same time, you know, I just want to go in and buy something, and I don't want to be dictated to. And I certainly, if that dealer would have said to me that we're keeping your warranty card for 6 months, I don't think I would have bought this watch, because at the end of the day, it's my watch and it's my warranty card that comes with the watch, so why should they hang on to it? So I was really surprised at that. And also, you know, what if something happens? 6 months is quite a long time. Something could happen to me, or something could happen to my watch. If the watch got stolen and I needed to prove to my insurance company the date I bought it and things like that, and the warranty card needs to be shown, they might ask for that, I don't know. And what if it's at a dealer, and then I've got to prove to the dealer that the watch has been stolen, so they'll release the warranty card? It could be a right nightmare, that. So I think it's really wrong that some of these dealers seem to think that they're okay to keep things like that. What if the dealer lost that warranty card? You know, it could be in a safe somewhere and somebody could lose it or misplace it. You know, it's a big responsibility on them, and believe me, you are not getting that warranty card replaced. Even if a dealer lost the card, they would not be able to get that warranty card replaced as far as I'm aware. So if you are buying one of these, just be very aware of any dealers trying it on like that, because I think it's really unfair, and I think it's something that you should really argue about and make a decision whether you are actually going to buy the watch if something like that happens, because it's not an isolated case that I've heard about, and it's just something you should be taking into account. In terms of values of this watch in the future, I do think that they're always going to trade above RRP. It's just a Daytona thing they did for many, many years, and it was only in the past year or so that they sort of slowed down in terms of that. But it was more because the rumours were rife about a ceramic model. You know, I was speaking to dealers about this model for the past 6 months before it came out and things like that, you know, and it was just getting to that point where we knew it was imminent, but nobody knew for sure, because only really Rolex know, I guess, about things like that. So for that reason, I would say that yes, the prices are now going to rise again. The prices on the older model now seem to be rising as well, because there'll always be people that want the older model when they realise they can't just go and buy a brand new one. So is it worth above RRP? Well, in my opinion, it's a very desirable watch. You've got the supply and demand factor, and that will push the prices up. But I tell you now, you'd have to spend a lot of money on top for me to sell mine, because I think it's absolutely lovely. It's a really, really beautiful thing to own, and I'm really pleased to have got it, especially in the first batch. I'm glad I could bring you this review, and I hope you've liked it. I hope you like the pictures. I know I've waffled on a bit, but I just wanted to really go into good detail about the watch and give my proper opinions as always. So thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'll be bringing you more videos soon, maybe on this watch as well. And please make sure you go to Instagram and check me out there. It's instagram.com/watchhobbyist, all one word. I'll see you again soon.